Hey there, YouTube. How's it going tonight? It's about 2 o'clock in the morning for me, but I'm working night shifts right now, so I'm wide awake. Anyway, this is to answer a couple of PMs that I had gotten. Somehow magic. How did you get into doing the magic? Well, like most people, I'd always had a bit of a curiosity about it, but that curiosity never went past just a curiosity. It looks great, be cool to know a couple of things, and that was it. Well, about 7 years ago, 8 years ago, approximately thereabouts, I had moved to Connecticut. And while living in Connecticut, and my brother lives in Connecticut, we'd actually taken a vacation there, visited him, loved the state, and then decided to move there. Anyway, what happened was, in a casual conversation that I had with my brother, a subject with magic and sleights and stuff came up. And this was about a specific thing with an infomercial that had been on TV years before that called Jaw Droppers by a guy by the name of Larry Anderson had performed and produced it. And, well, he was in the Navy at the time, and it's actually relevant. And he had told me, well, I actually own that video series. And at first I thought, dude, you're such a liar. If you'd owned it, you'd have done some stuff to me by now. And he's like, no, really, I do have it. I do have it. And I was like, all right, you got to loan those to me so I can check them out. Well, what had happened was he had ordered it, and he had finally gotten the package about a week or so after he had to go out on a 6-month deployment. So he shelved them and forgot about them until that conversation came about. So he loaned them to me, and I tried a bunch of the things in there on some friends, some family members, and so on. And I was really having fun with the responses that I was getting. Well, I started getting into some of the street magic aspect of it all, and was just having a blast. Started researching a little bit more. And then one day, I found myself at a Barnes & Noble bookstore, and I found a really slick book on magic called, I believe it was the Encyclopedia of Practical Magic, or the Practical Encyclopedia of Magic, one of the two. Well, there just so happened to be another guy there who was buying it as well. It was in the bargain book area. And I introduced myself, or he actually approached me, introduced himself to me, and he owned a magic shop. Well, his magic shop turned out that it was only about 15 minutes or so away from where I lived. So I started making regular visits to this gentleman at his magic shop. I was having a lot of fun. In a very short time, I got invited to start joining or going to some of their magic club meetings. The name of this group was called the New London Society of Magicians. After a while, I actually got voted in. It is a recognized by the International Brotherhood of Magicians, which is one of those big things that people get into when they're really getting into the magic. David Copperfield is actually a member. As well as a bunch of other really well-known magicians. So I got into that, had a lot of fun with it, and in a very short time, there was a flyer that went out through the group where one of the members was looking for some stage performances for a thing he was doing for Parkinson's research. So I volunteered. I was hoping to do backstage, stagehand type of stuff, and in talking to the guy, he's like, no, I really need a performing act. I need some performing acts, opening acts, and what have you. So that night, we always ended with what we called just a members magic type of thing. I had delved into one of the tricks that I had learned from my Jaw Droppers series, and performed a trick that none of the members had actually seen before, which really isn't that outrageous when you consider there are literally hundreds of thousands of different tricks out there. There's no magician out there that's going to be able to see them all. What blew me away and what really boosted my confidence was when I've got seasoned performers there that have 30, 40 years and in some cases more than that under their belt, and they couldn't figure out how I had done this trick, which in the video series was Ghost Trap, I believe it was called. I used all borrowed materials, which really boosted my credibility. Well, as everybody was saying their goodbyes, this gentleman had approached me and said, "You know what? You may do a lot that's up close magic, but you're going to work on a performance. I want you in my show." And I was just totally psyched. I had I think it was about 2 to 2.5 weeks or so to prepare a routine that I was going to perform on stage. I designed and manufactured all my own props based on already existing props, and I got to do a 15-minute opening act to his thing for Parkinson's research. Since then, I have done, I want to say, about 6 stage performances, always a charity event, but I never felt more alive than when I was actually up on a stage. I've done a few, I haven't done it as a living type thing. It's usually street type stuff, but it's still exciting nonetheless. I really enjoy it, but I don't think I ever really want to do that part as a living. I think what I'd love to get into is actually being somebody who designs and manufactures props and stuff for stage as well as close-up magic. I think that would be where my calling would be. There's about 4 that I have designed that are not published, and I need to get off my ass and publish them. One of them has a lot of glitches going on with it, but when I get those worked out, the illusion's going to be great, and it'll be cool to actually perform it for you guys here on the screen here. I don't even have a name for it yet. I can tell you the gist of it would be that a card is selected from a deck. The spectator can even sign it, and the punchline at the very end of it is, even after they shuffle it, it's handed back to me, and all I do is take it and throw it in the air, and their card with their signature floats in the air, facing them right here. Got a few things to work out on it, but it is beautiful when it works. But it only works like 1 out of every 10 times is my problem. A few little things I gotta fix on that. But that's the kind of stuff I like to do. I like to actually design tricks, and I like to create the mechanisms to make the illusions possible. That's where I'd really like to go with the stuff. So for those of you who have actually posted those PMs to me, I think that answers your question. And if you ever wanted to get involved in it, there are a lot of wonderful books, websites, and groups to get involved in, and I think you have a lot of fun with it. It's something incredible to be on the performer side of performing magic and sleight of hand and what have you. Anyway, I'm going to let it go with that. You all have a good night. This is Somehow Magic, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye now.